Hey everybody, this is Peter Palmiotti, and this is 2018. Welcome. Uh, I think this is my first video of the year, isn't it? Uh, I guess. Uh, alright, so I'm gonna upload this today, hopefully. Um, and it's already 7th, so we're a week in. I'm gonna mention a few things before getting into my first half of my SHEcember drawings. And talk a little bit about that jazz. Um, but yeah, new year, new drive, new schedule, new me. Um, it was really the last part of last year. Um, that I mentioned this in my sketches video. Um, that I really wasn't jiving with my work and essentially. And so I went to task and committed myself to drawing a lot more, a ton more. SHEcember was a part of it in December, and much better ground now. And I know fundamentally, um, I want to break down my schedule, simplify it going forward. You know, I'm going to be all about making comics and working on art and selling art and working on the business side of everything online and all that. And, you know, um, have yet to be totally happy with how I set up my Patreon page, and so I'm going reformatting that yet again. Um, sorry to anyone who's loved anything I've done previously on there. I mean, it's like if you're a patron, then everything's open to you. A lot of what I posted in the last month, maybe a couple months, is open for everybody to check out, but it's stuff I post everywhere else for the most part. Um, yeah, Patreon is like you know, if you want to go support an artist, a writer, or photographer, or whatever that you love, then you just throw them, whatever pledge level you want. And I'm thinking I want it to be more about process of what I'm working on. Um, so we'll see how that's going to change. One of the first things I wanted to mention today, though, is that I've pretty much been sick since the first. Um, it was like we had New Year's Eve and crashed. It was my friend's place, and so woke up later, um, and proceeded to do cleanup and whatnot. And actually, it was it was probably the worst kind of um, New Year's Eve because my friend Lisa's mom went to the ER about a half hour before midnight, and while her brother and son were downstairs, I was really there to hang out with Lisa, and uh, I decided to just hang out with Lisa's cats upstairs, and um, yeah. I didn't even get online to watch any ball drops or watch it on their, her TV upstairs, and uh, yeah, it sucked. Um, but I think that was really good for me. And her mom's back home, and she's old and she's got things she's got to deal with. Um, but I know everybody's happier. And mom's back home. Her mom did not want to be in the hospital. His whole story to that, but yeah, uh, it's like I didn't on the first that night. I started to feel a little weird, and I thought on the second, on the third, I got a cold. I got a fever. I got aches and pains. Kind of like when a cold reaches you, and you just like it hurts to move in a sense. You just feel achy, and yeah, I was totally mostly out of it. And it dawned on me shortly after that it's more than just a cold, it's the flu. And I heard a story regarding the flu in this season and the hospital in town. They're really turning people away because the flu shots aren't working this year. It's just the flu is out of control. It's a pandemic for people. Um, and yeah, so it's the 7th, and I'm still dealing with it. I could feel it, and I had severe sore throat at some point. I've been taking, some drugs for it. I've felt worse and better at times. I'm trying to get more sleep. Part of I know what's been throwing me off and making the flu probably worse is there were a couple of days where I didn't get any sleep at all. Um, and it's stress and whatnot. Right now, I could be a lot better off financially, and I'm going to be working on that. But um, I've been trying to think of okay, I gotta make a move this year, and it means making a move out of here and going and renting a home. Um, and meanwhile, I got to deal with having a small place, and I had 3 cats living here, and so what we came up with um, is Lisa took on Taz, which is why the uh, sort of a drawing of me and my buddy Taz below um, by Selena, which I love, and I gotta get a frame for that one day. But I have it sort of in my kitchen. Um, so he's with her, and he loves her as much as he loves me. Um, so that was somewhat of a relief, but it's the weather has really dropped here, and um, um, my my crazy cat, my outdoor cat, was been spending a lot more time indoors. Even though she wants to go outdoors, but she'll only go out for 5 minutes and come back in. So there's the whole pain in the ass of going in and going out because there's no cat door here. This is probably boring to a lot of you. Sorry for that. So yeah, I talked to our friends at the farm. the pet sanctuary, and they're full up. But they were willing to take uh, my two girls for 3 days, and so today is the last of those 3 days. Unfortunately, I've been, you know, flu symptoms were kind of worse the past couple of days, but I did finally put this together, and at least moving past that, I did come up um, with a schedule that I want to keep to, but I'm not going to make any sort of announcements of what exactly it is. Uh, and what else? Yeah, so I might get the girls back tonight, or maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. But essentially sacrifice. So that's been major sacrifice. I miss them. I miss my babies. Um, and at the same time, it's like anything I want to do, even if it's as simple as you know, writing or reading or whatever, interacting with the computer, it's so much easier. If you have cats or animals of any kind, then you know what I'm talking about. Um, and yeah, the maintenance came by last week, and we had our. I don't know if you could tell. I'm actually getting more light from outside. Um, but we had our lights updated so that they're brighter. I don't know what it is, but it's just that maybe there's not enough lights in this place. I mean, kind of like if it's light out and I have all the windows open, um, it's very bright in here. I mean, there's no window in the kitchen, um, so I could open the back door, which is in the kitchen, and it lets the light in. But if I have everything open and drawn, doors open, it's a lot cooler in this place, and the heat is horrible. It's like really concentrated in you know in right directly here where I sit at my computer, or actually right directly at my bed, which is like worse um, on my flu, because breathing is a problem. Yeah, so the heating sucks in this place. When it gets this cold, we're talking single digits overnight, um, and I gotta have the heat running, and the heat comes on and dries me out, um, and I have spray to counteract that, but I have to like stick my head outside just to breathe fresh air. It's ridiculous. Um, anyway, um, I'm going on rants. Yeah, so it's like in regards to sacrifices, and like for the short term, if I could do this a couple of months without the cats, that would be prime. But there's really nobody, I I trust in the neighborhood that would be convenient, um, to to give my cats to, um, that you know a lot of people just aren't cat people or have allergies or whatever. It's just not going to work other than with the sanctuary, and they're great people, but they, like I said, they're overcrowded at the moment. 'Tis the season when they have more than they can handle and take on. Um, but yeah, God, I miss them, and I'm hearing like cats. in my head, and I look around. It's like, where's my babies? Uh, so yeah, it's a drag, and like I said, it's also a relief. I know, like when I'm cooking for myself, and I always tend to freak out if they're around. I don't want them jumping on the oven. You just can't always control them. They go everywhere. Um, they're not like dogs. They don't obey. Mm, it doesn't mean I would love them any less. So the other day, I have a couple of stories, and mind you, this is just me yapping away. Okay, so the other day I went over to Lisa's because hey, it's where I'm getting my internet. I'm also sacrificing internet at this point in time. If you didn't realize, um, so everything I do online is therefore takes me long stretches of time, days to do even basic stuff online. Um, but yeah, so the other day I went over to Lisa's and was hanging out with everybody downstairs. Lisa's mom was back home. Everybody was in better spirits, and I hear meow meow, and it's Tazzy, and he's upstairs, and I heard us talking, more specifically me, and he knew it was me, and he was like calling out to me, and he just came down the stairs and ran to me. It was really sweet. It was so sweet. I give him hugs and kisses and stupid cat daddy stuff, and um, I miss his pain in the ass. um, but clearly he was happy there, and he was getting, he knew the terrain there now, and he was playing with the other cats, Lisa's cats, and Keo and Monkey. Um, and so it was a blast to see and hang out with him again, and catch up with the fam and whatnot. Um, Another story is, and this happened towards the end of last year. Um, this has never happened to us. Okay, now mind you, we've been friends of the sanctuary for years now. Ever since we first found out with them, and have had cats, staying over there. Um, there's a long road off sort of the main highway that is only really for the farms out there, and one of them being the sanctuary. I call it the sanctuary. I call it the farm. Um, anyway, there's a barn right on the road, and it's not on the road. It's just right off the road. Um, and it has these um, donkeys, or also miniature horses that are usually in there. And we always look for them and say hello, because we're goofy like that. And sometimes they make noises. Sometimes they swat their hair. They acknowledge our presence. But every once in a while, like we see a couple of cats, hang out either to our left as we go in, um, by the front, one side of the barn, or on the other side of the road. There's sort of a drain that usually a cat is sitting on for whatever reason. They like to sit on this drain that's over there. Well, yeah, towards the end of last year, we're driving up this road, and all of a sudden we look ahead, and there's a dozen cats um, in front of the barn, and we're like, "What the hell?" Um, it was really crazy. It was like, what? Where'd they come from? What's going on? We kind of figured out that the guy who owns the barn, that's probably feeding time. We went there around, I don't know, might have been around 6 or 7, somewhere around there. And usually we get there either earlier, sometimes later, mostly earlier. We just came at the exact time, just before it, to where they get fed. The guy probably goes in the barn and puts out some food for the mules and midget, dwarf horses, whatever you call them. Um, and yeah, so they they probably weren't fed at this point, and they were all converged to feed upon um, food. So what happened was that we saw them, and they're all to our left, in front of the barn, and Lisa's driving up the road, and as we pretty much side by side with them, they start walking towards the car because it's like we're making the only noise in the area, uh, and I guess they sort of thought we were the farmer, um, and that we might have food. And I was like, oh my god, you're gonna kill 6 cats just by driving slowly past them. They're all they converged and got in front of the car, and they're both on both sides of the car and back of the car. I got out of the I got out of the car, and I said, like, just stay here. Um, and um, I I went to the front of the barn, and they all sort of followed me. And I was like, "Come here, come here, come here!" And they got away from the car so Lisa could pull ahead. And I swear it was the funniest thing. So Lisa's way ahead on the road, completely safe. No cats were harmed. All the cats were in front of the barn, and I start walking up the road, and I just look behind me, and it's just a swarm. They're just they're just following me because they think I must be the farmer and I have food somewhere. Um, so I can almost see Lisa laughing in the car. I start running down the road, and they just converge on the road and are running after me. And it was the most hilarious thing ever been a part of. And I've had some pretty hilarious animal related stories since I've been in this town. Uh, like, I remember, I think it was last year, like I saved a turtle that was on in the middle of the road. I think that was in this town. The sanctuary's outside of town, but it was pretty damn hilarious. Like to look back, and they're all just chasing after me. I'm being chased by cats, and another funny thing is, like, Um, 11 out of 12 of the cats were orange. Red cats. Either white and orange, or all orange with white patches. They all seem to be mostly the same breed. It was really weird. Um, but yeah, I looked back and they were all chasing me. It was funny, hysterical, and I didn't want to get any of them hurt. Just getting out of the car or whatever. So yeah, I got I made it to the car and they were all way down the road, but when we went headed back home, none of them were there. They already ate and went home or wherever they habitat. Um, but that was so funny, so funny. Okay, so I'm going off into many different rants, and it's already been a half hour. Um, uh, do I have any little bits other than just hoping I get shake this flu? Um, I will be posting part two up probably later in the week. Um, and uh, you know, obviously, I'll give you an update on what's happening as it happens. But the only other thing I want to mention, I guess, because I forget if I had one other thing, but is that the 100s anthology is coming to Kickstarter. If you all know that I'm a part of a group called The 100s, and actually I was um, managing the group, which I did for a couple of years, I guess, um, until just recently, because I've oh, that's kind of the other thing, but I'll get back to that. Um, so yeah, D100's a art challenge created by Kevin Cross is spend 30 minutes a day for 100 days working on your own personal comic, and there's a whole group and community built around that, and I believe it's 20 creators, and there's pinups in it, and it's a D100s anthology. Um, yeah, so I'm not in the first issue, but if they are successful and do a second issue, I'm sure I'll be in that. So January 10th is when it comes to Kickstarter. So keep an eye out for that. I meant to get artwork so I could show you, but where's my head at? 100 different places and mostly congested. Um, so yeah, go pledge to that. Um, the other thing is, like, yes, I've done a number of attempts at my 100 days challenge myself. Really, the first one is the one that was most successful. I did 82 videos. I did 30 minutes each day. Every attempt at sort of an art challenge after that has been more and more a failure. Between Inktober and the one attempting the 100s a couple more times, maybe three more attempts. I forget. Um, I've come to the conclusion that other than SHEcember, it's like no more art challenges for me, at least until I get my shit together. Um, yeah, it's more like distraction than anything else, and this is kind of my way of doing it right, which is like I'm not going to worry about posting it on the day. If anything, I posted a number of pieces already, like on Facebook and Instagram and maybe Twitter, way after the fact, because I was more concerned about doing the pieces. Like the SHEcember challenge was to draw a female each day for each day of December. Um, and this is the first batch. Um, and yeah, let's just do this. Um, so there's different levels of quality to these. Some I'm really happy with, and some are kind of failures. Um, for the most part, these are just portraits. Um, Sometimes I use reference. Um, Sometimes I just did it from my head. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's not more than that to say. Um, there's this piece, which is my Facebook profile picture. I thought I had it scanned on this computer, but I have to grab it off the internet since I already taped it up. Um, or I could scan it again. I don't know. Anyway, I'm really happy, ecstatic with that piece, and that was me just taking my time and da 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 da. I took a little time with this one, um, but there's a heaviness to it that, of course, when you're drawing females, you want less is more. Um, but I wanted, I've been wanting to like just push my work, so didn't really worry about too much. Is this all grabbed? Ba-ba-bum. I guess I'm missing the top of her head. Let's see if I can fix this. Do do do. All right. So I'm guessing um, some of this might wind up being different. Okay. I'll just do it like that. Da, 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 da. Okay. So really happy with this one. Um, it's kind of like how I want certain aspects of my art to go. Although we'll see how that develops. But yeah, I'm really happy with this piece, and I see a lot of my artists I'm inspired by within it. We'll go to this one. Uh, it's a, there's a little more of it that you're not seeing, but essentially that's most of it. Um, yeah, this is me just pushing extreme to penciling, and um, it's not a total win. Um, but I like where some of the lines were going, and even if it wasn't really tight with how I wanted it to be, I felt like the eyes are too tiny. Like the shadows of where the eyes should be could have been a little bigger. But I kind of liked it. And she's all American. Uh, this works in some ways, fails in others, but it was okay. You know, less would have definitely been more in this. This I believe was just me from my head, um, and you know, um, it's really funny. It's like if you're gonna draw women in comics, most artists have a single look for a woman. The difference being, the hair is different, or what they're wearing is different, and that's how you tell them apart. You know, I want to be able to do at least a couple of variations. So I'm happy with that. The eyes I gotta work on, and it's not like I don't know how to get them right. It's more I just gotta work on the drawings more, work more on the foundation of drawings, and that's where I'm going to be getting into working more on figure drawings and whatnot. Yeah, I set this up and I'm clipping. Let's see. I do this. No, that's wrong. Where is it? Oh, I see what I gotta do. All right. So much for my smooth slideshow. Um, yeah, essentially, you see this. It's. I think I made this up, and I kind of like it. There's a lot of artists that draw very long women necks, and I kind of like that look. It's more, I want to say, spiritual. I don't know, swan like. Um, and I mean, I like a lot of the details, and it kind of gets away from being a female, but it kind of works too at the same point. Anyway, I like this one. Then this one, okay, so this was a tiny little drawing, and it actually reminded me a little bit of Bernie Wrightson. Um, and mind you, like I'm a huge fan of Bernie Wrightson, but his women were not so hot for the most part. Although I loved certain aspects of them, his guys were awesome. Um, anyway, I liked the essential, you know, sh- shadows and what I captured there. I didn't even put pupils, but I kind of like the feel of it. Uh, Always reminds me of good comic heroes when they have their pupils. Um, this I probably I want to say I grabbed from a picture. I don't actually remember. Um, the nose came out a little funky, but I like the mouth and even the eyes. They're not exactly perfect, but um, there's more expressiveness to them. And here's another one. I don't exactly. I want to say yes. I was using reference to this, but I think in a lot of ways this is my most successful of the pieces. Um, because the reference I probably used was of a beautiful girl, and I sort of made her more of a unique woman. And I really like the way it came out. Wait, wait a minute. Yeah, is this one twice? Chip. I hope I got them all here. But yeah, that one was previously. Anyway, okay. So this one, not usually successful. I kind of like uh, the lighting on this, although it didn't really work out Um, it's not really fully realized, um, and the eye is a little screwy, and yeah, a lot of this is a little screwy, but and it looks less like a female, so kind of a failure, but uh, it's really worth it to draw every day. Um, this one is successful. And I think I'm getting to the end. Um, but it's not super tight. Um, eyes could be a little better positioned, but I think this one was successful. If I flatten the work a little bit and tighten it just a little more, it would have been perfect. Um, this one I had fun with. Hey, I put background buildings, um, and I think this works for the most part. The eyes are a little off, like they're a little too big, and if I shrunk them down a little bit, then it would have worked on the face a little overall. All and the chin, like it's big, but the chin on the woman was big, so um, that kind of worked out. Okay, yeah. So I'm almost to the end, um, and yeah, this one's fine. Um, I wanted to get more expressive women uh, reference. It's kind of hard to do when you don't have internet at home, but I have some reference here I could use, and that was one of them. Uh, like the way it came out, and yeah, that's the last one. In many ways, I loved working on this. In the end, it comes out looking like mush, but my heart was there, and that's what counts. Um, uh, I want to defend it, but it's like it is what it is. It was my attempt to make a mostly gray image with some highlights within the image work, and it mostly comes out looking like a pencil mesh. But I'm glad I attempted it. Um, when it comes down to it, it's not like I can make every drawing I do perfect, but it's a matter of putting in the time. And sometimes you're not at the top of your game when you put pencil to paper. Um, so you gotta work a little harder to do what you may have, you know, done awesomely the day before in no time at all, and today it's just taking you longer. Um, you could have great art days, you could have bad art days. Sometimes it's like the drawing is almost there. You just gotta play with the pieces a little, the shapes, and yeah. So I'm glad I took this SHEcember challenge, and yeah, like I said, I probably shouldn't do this in the future for the foreseeable future. Um, I know, you know, I just need to concentrate on my own stuff and get my own work produced already. Um, but I'll be putting up part two, and I'll be putting up a number of other videos. I'm not going to forecast or premiere anything at the moment. Um, Yeah, I was wondering if there's any last minute. It's about 45 minutes, so let's leave it at that. Uh, yeah, stay tuned for part two. Um, love you all. If you're not already, become a patron. I swear I'm going to get that page organized. Um, and yeah, I guess I'll grab me some lunch, uh, take a walk over to Lisa's, and upload this so you can watch it in the future. Let me know if if you were a part of SHEcember. I know a lot of my friends were. Um, and SHEcember was started by Marshall Lee, as he goes by now. It's Marshall Couture in the old days. Um, yeah, Marshall Lee. Sorry, Marshall. And yeah, that's it for me for now. More of this soon. A lot more other things and a lot more process on my Patreon page. All coming your way in 2018, which I hope will be my best year yet. I've got a lot of things planned and a lot of things in the works. So hopefully the comic guards are with me and we'll see what we shall see. Talk to you soon. All right, bye.